Greetings Boffins, welcome to the Boffin Lab. I'm Taran and we're playing Ark Survival Evolved. Today we're going to look at violent taming methods. There are two ways to tame dinosaurs in Ark. Violent methods, which require that you knock out the target and keep it unconscious until it's tamed. And there's passive methods, which involves feeding the dinosaur while it's awake and then waiting until it's eaten enough to be tamed. We will cover violent taming in this video because it's the most likely version you will do first. There are several ways to knock out a dinosaur. The most obvious and the earliest available is using your fists, but this is not recommended. You can punch things, but it's a slow process and you get hurt. There are several different weapons available for knocking out a dinosaur. Punching is the earliest one. Then there is the wooden club and the slingshot. The wooden club's slightly more effective, but it degrades very quickly. The slingshot uses rocks as ammunition, but doesn't seem to be doing as much damage as the wooden club does. The usual method of knocking out a dinosaur is to use tranquilizer arrows in either a bow or a crossbow. You can use them in a compound bow, but they're not as effective. They don't get the bonuses that the compound bow would normally get. At the high end of things, you can use a long neck rifle with tranquilizer darts, an electric prod, or dinosaurs that cause torpor, such as the scorpion and the bezel buffio. However, you need a slightly more established tribe in order to use those methods. So, we're going to start with the wooden club, since it's most likely that you will get this first. I've seen my target. It's a dillo just ahead of me, and I'm going to use a wooden club to knock it out. I'm not going to bother trying to get that oviraptor. Oviraptors are different to most animals in that they only eat certain types of food, and I don't have what it needs. But the dillo's another matter. It's easy. Well, easier than most. It takes a little time for the torpor from all weapons to actually accrue, so you need to keep close to the dinosaur. Fortunately, this weapon didn't do so much damage to the dillo. It's only lost a little bit of its hit points. That's useful in the final end of things, as how much damage you do to the dinosaur dictates how effective the taming is. You'll see that it says tameable by Taran. I was the one who got the last hit on the dinosaur, so me or my tribe are the only people who can tame it. If somebody else got the last hit on the dinosaur, it would be tameable by their tribe, not mine, and they would have to tame it for me. It is possible to give somebody your dinosaur, but this is not optimal. It is also possible to come across dinosaurs in the wild that have been knocked out by other wild dinosaurs, for some reason or another. These will be tameable by anyone, so it might be worth grabbing the opportunity if you see it. However, if you're going to tame something, you need to be prepared in advance. You'll see at the bottom there's a bar, and it says unconscious. It's slowly losing torpor. This means that it will soon wake up. When that bar reaches 0, it's awake again, and aggressive again. If we access the inventory with the F key, we see that the torpor in the bottom right is going down. We also see that the food is going down. This is important because taming is about how often the dinosaur eats. But first we're going to deal with the torpor. We don't want it waking up. And so I have some narco berries. These will keep it unconscious. They're your first option in taming. Put the narco berries into the dinosaur's inventory and select them. You now have the option to use the remote use item button. Each time you click this, forces the dinosaur to eat one berry. The berry is worth 8 torpor, so you're probably going to need to use quite a few. And so the torpor is now going up. This is how you keep the dinosaur unconscious. Narcotics will put 40 torpor into a dinosaur, but they only cost 5 narco berries and 1 spoiled meat to make. Far more efficient than narco berries. But you'll probably find that you won't be able to make them straight away. So this is your first option. Now, in order to tame the dinosaur, you have to put one of its preferred foods into its inventory. In this case, the dillo likes raw meat. So I'm putting some raw meat into its inventory, and it's already eating. As it eats, its taming bar goes up. When its taming bar is full, it will be tamed. How long it takes for a dinosaur to tame is dependent on several factors. Taming time depends on the dinosaur type and the dinosaur level. You'll find the bigger the dinosaur, the longer it takes to tame. Also, the higher the level, the longer it takes to tame. You'll also have several different types of food you can give a dinosaur. The best type is the kibble that dinosaur prefers. That will get you the best results in the shortest taming time. The last thing that it is dependent on is the settings for the server. If it's an independent or unofficial server, it'll have the possibility of very different taming settings. But all official servers have a set standard taming rate. Our dillo is nearly tamed. We just need to give it a little bit more in the way of narcos. Putting more narcos into the dillo than the torpor can handle doesn't really give you much advantage. The torpor will go to max and then start counting down, regardless of how many narco berries you pump into it. So it's just a balancing act. As it goes down, put a little bit more in. Though some dinos won't need too many. This dinosaur's nearly done, but there's one more thing you should look at. Under the stats for the dinosaur, it's got taming effectiveness. This dinosaur is very low level, so there isn't much there. But if it were a higher level, I could tame this effectively and get a better level out of the dinosaur. The best you can manage is usually plus 50 levels on top of what the dinosaur is. That's for a 120 dinosaur in an official server. So you could end up with a 172 dinosaur. Obviously you're going to want that because you got more stats. So you try and do everything you can to make the taming effectiveness stay up. The best way to do this is to do as little damage as possible and to use the best food. My dillo's tamed and now I can name it. I can change the name by using the radial menu and the E button. I don't like the name I put in, so I put in a new one. The dillo will automatically start with a few settings. It's set to be aggressive and it's set to follow me. This is not always a great move, so use the radial menu to change it to a different setting. And once again, disable following. There's something else to look at. The dillo's automatically set to be on wandering. Not the best option, since dillos seem to be very good at escaping. So, to stop it, I ran up to it and used the T key to whistle it to follow me so it doesn't wander off. And now, I use the radial window to disable the wandering. just to make sure. Now, it shouldn't move from where I leave it unless it runs after something, but it's currently set on passive and it won't attack anything regardless of whether it's attacked or not. I will cover the settings for dinosaurs in another video, but you've just seen the basics on how to tame a dinosaur. I hope you have fun collecting dinosaurs because they come in all sorts of colours, all sorts of shapes and sizes. That's it for this video. Have fun, keep surviving.